Child sex trafficking. It's one of society's most vile crimes. Vulnerable young people, oftentimes recruited over social media and sold for sex across state lines. The Las Vegas cases run stubbornly consistent every year. An 8-year study by Arizona State University identified 922 child victims, 90 in the last year of the study, 2019. But cases topped 100 in 3 of those previous years. Under federal law, the children are considered victims, not criminals. But the challenge for police is where to put them, where they can get treatment and don't run back to a victimizer, ready to perpetuate a cycle of exploitation. St. Jude's Ranch for Children says the solution is this plot of land next to their Boulder City campus. Not much to look at, but what do you see happening out here?
Welcome to the future home of the Healing Center. This entire, 10 acres is going to be transformed into a place of healing.
St. Jude's CEO Christina Vela calls it the best and only hope to break the cycle of child exploitation. The virtual tour of their new healing center looks like an upscale new housing project in the valley. There will be multiple homes, a 24-hour-a-day emergency shelter, on-site schooling, therapy offices, and a lot of serene outdoor space, all designed to transform victims into survivors.
It couldn't come at a sooner time. I mean, we absolutely need the solution now.
And there is a hard deadline coming up in 2023. That's when a state law takes effect prohibiting the jailing of child exploitation victims. But police say without that ability to put them in juvenile detention, the victims oftentimes run right back to their traffickers.
We are looking forward to having the facility that St. Jude's is building because it's sorely needed here in town. We are a human trafficking hub, particularly for juveniles.
A human trafficking hub, and Nevada has not designated the money to help the victims the way other states have. Captain Buste says a victim might have contact with social services 7 or 8 times before they finally accept help.
It would be huge to be able to place them someplace they are going to get the services they need to be able to be safe and happy, as opposed to having contact with the vice detectives or other law enforcement agencies over and over again and continuing to be victimized by various traffickers and by the demand side.
That ASU study found that of the 922 cases of child sex trafficking, the victims only cooperate at most about a third of the time. 31 victims cooperated in 2019, and as you can see in years previous, the numbers are much smaller. Vela says the Healing Center will attack the demand side of child sex trafficking.
We fundamentally believe that when we have young people in a place where they feel safe, and we have the right people asking all the right questions, that we can collect information that then can go to law enforcement partners and anybody else that needs it to hold the perpetrators of the crime to justice, right? The buyers of the sex, but also the traffickers themselves.
St. Jude's has experience on that front. For 55 years, it's been a safe home for thousands of abused and neglected children in Nevada. Jessica Halling is the Youth Care Program Director, and she's also a former resident, a survivor of sex trafficking and abuse. Her own experience is informing the design and the mission of the Healing Center.
Arresting them is not the answer. The Healing Center, a receiving center, and greeting these survivors and victims with love and kindness from the very first interaction is really what is going to help us change the dynamic of our community and what's happening to these victims.
A refuge in the desert, putting victims miles away from the people who controlled them through often brutal tactics and on a path to healing. So far, St. Jude's has raised $10 of the $15 million needed to build the Healing Center. Caesars stepped up with a $1 million donation, but they need to close the gap, and they are looking for additional community partners to bridge that gap. And then it's another $2 million a year to operate the Healing Center, covered by Clark County grants, corporate and private donations. If you'd like to help, we put a link to the fundraising page for St. Jude's Healing Center at fox5vegas.com.